where you could have participation from the various schools, where they could do whether it's poetry, they can do some sort of dramatization, they can do dances, they can do skits, they can do poetry, they can do songs, um, and you could have presentations from prominent persons in the society, and or you need a speaker to discuss the topic. The other Caribbean islands that do, like I know for sure, St. Lucia. I've seen St. Lucia have done, a number of activities where emancipation is concerned and commemorating emancipation. I think that emancipation should not just be uh, for us a time where we think we should just walk up and drink rum and get drunk and party and then go back on the plantation to work the next day. What I'm suggesting is to have something that is a bit more meaningful that would help to continue to at least keep thoughts of the things that our people would have been through, and to help to pass that on to the future generation so that they can be more conscious of themselves, conscious of the struggle, conscious of where we are, why we are in the situation that we're in. And you know it's quite interesting that this is not given the sort of seriousness that I think that we should be given or be given, and I really look forward to in the future that we can see to do something on this day. We the first Monday in August, which is going to be Monday coming, that's when they're going to have the celebration of the Juve morning and walk up and drink rum and all that and all that. But since the day itself is such a significant day, I think that that is something that should be done and commemorated. Um, as I speak of emancipation, I feel like Brother Bankie is in. I'm going to let him introduce himself just a bit, but I just want to add this one in that we, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, is honored to welcome Dr. Julius Garvey, the son of the legendary Pan-Africanist right excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey, to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis from the 3rd of August to the 7th of August 2025. A renowned medical doctor and global thought leader, Dr. Garvey continues his father's legacy by inspiring youth, promoting cultural pride, and championing self-empowerment across the African diaspora. The main event will be the remembrance ceremony, Wednesday, 6th August, from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Um, Following the historic footsteps of Marcus Garvey from punk-based victory to the Mutual Improvement Society building on Market Street, where he once addressed the nation in 1937. So it's just going back through history, and there is even some history that suggests that Marcus Garvey was born in Sandy Point. However, the history shows that when he came to visit in 1937, he came in at Sandy Point. And as I was listening earlier on to a presentation, I was informed that Sandy Point at one point was actually like a port, and people used to travel from Sandy Point and go into Station and some of the other neighboring islands. We had customs over there. Police station is still there, but quite interesting. So those are a couple of things that is on the agenda. I want to say good evening to Ras Bankie Sabas King. Welcome to Baldivis King.
Yes, greetings, Yahsonn, and greetings to the listening and viewing audience, wherever you're at. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in on another Friday evening on the Everything Agriculture Show. Sorry for the late tardiness. I mean, leaving the farm and people coming by and so forth, then time tie you up sometime, but at least before the standard. So, I mean, it's the festive season, so you have people on the island some still listening. And so for tonight should be the Senior Calypso Show finals. So I wish all the contestants well. Let me say good evening to the folks here in Orly and our sister Island Amiga, if you're first and listener, which means St. Kitts and Nevis, the indigenous name. So hopefully one of these days we really, as we want to move into a republic, but these are things you have to take to the people and referendum, and if the people want it, they just don't impose things upon the people. If they vote on it, then they vote of it. If not, then it's things the way it is. But I think it's always imperative that the people be a part of the decision making and stuff like that. So good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands, Save and Statia, St. Martin, US Virgin Islands, and the BVI. Also the folks over in Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda. Also the folks over in Bermuda. We tend to have a lot of listening audience in Bermuda. Also, a lot of, most of the population is of Nevisian descent, so that shows a lot when you enter to somebody else's place and then your your nationality become the most popular on that island. I mean, I never hear it like that. It shows a lot that individual really love to, and in the next one country, we create. So it's a beautiful thing. Also, good evening to folks in diaspora, North America, up to Canada, from the Florida Keys, straight up to Maine, Atlanta, Texas, Chicago, folks over in Jersey, New York, Boston, wherever at the sound of my voice in the US. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in on this Friday evening, and the folks over in Europe also, different time zone. It's late, but you guys still sticking with us every week over the years, and we greatly appreciate it. And also the folks over in Asia and our students studying different places in Costa Rica. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in this evening. We have a lot to talk about. I mean, it's August 1st, which we tend to celebrate Emancipation. But yes, when it comes to Emancipation, I'm not sure if we just banter these words around and just say, yes, it's Emancipation, and then at the same time you go down where at the same time you had a disaster, a natural disaster, where not really a natural disaster, well, some would say it's negligence that a boat was overloaded, where you have a lot of our farmers and other family members. I mean, myself, I mean, I have family members who lost their mom and siblings on that boat. My family, Azzy, Tyson, I mean, and lots of other family members, Pupil and all them guys was on the boat, and just listening some of the stories from Budgin, from Kodako the fisherman, and when the incident happened is just is amazing, you know. So, but it's about time. There was never been reparation have never been paid to none of the survivors and their family, and I think it's about time when every August 1st either government, whichever is in power, go by the Alexander Museum where you have the monument there, and it's just a whole charade. I mean, it's about time we do the right thing and pay the survivors. I mean, it can help a generation down the road. And for the years and pain that have been passed from since 1970, no one in each individual should get them. I mean, this is just my thing, you know, not, no less than $1 million. I mean, it should be more as possible, but minimum $1 million each survivor should get. If they get more, I welcome it. If they get 10, 20, 100 million, it doesn't matter to me, because the government has failed their people. Okay? So his mass grave have been dug and buried with own ancestor, because we are every generation is a new ancestor. From a child born is a new ancestor, you know. And if we, until we continue to look at this and realize we keep with ourselves. You are your mother, and my mother and my father, and they are their parents the same when they go back. Just ancestors, which is us. We are the one that was enslaved. You see, nothing changes. It's just different generation passed through these things for hundreds of years. We have survived it because our ancestors keep fighting. So look, so the new enslavement now is our own people. I have a clip, Yahsonn, I want to be played before we get into the conversation of the Hamilton Sugar Estate. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if
but before we get into this clip, right? Um,
yes,
when I began before you came in, I spoke to the um, Christina disaster, and the point that you brought up in terms of compensation for the survivors and family of the survivors and so on. I wanted to get
yes,
into that, but I would have wait until you come in. But I think
yes,
that after all these years, and as you're mentioning, these people go down there every year and say that they're showing solidarity and and all this, and talk about we have all these fancy speeches and so on. But at the end of the day, there's still the debate amongst them whether it would have been the local government that was responsible for the ferry or if it was the British government. But we have all these scholars and lawyers and all of these people. Why have they not sought to get to the bottom of that issue, and then whoever is supposed to be charged, whether it would have been the crown
Yahsonn.
or themselves take responsibility, and as you mentioned, payout. I mean, you'd have gotten billions from the CBI. That could have been one of the initiatives. Take $1 billion or $2 billion and compensate all of those people who you're talking about that survived the Christina and the families and so on. So, as you mentioned that's what I'm saying. I am in total agreement with you on that position and something like this, because the fact is, it was not like a local. It was owned, I think, at the time by the government, whether it was the local government or the monarchy at the time, it was them. So the responsibility, whether the captain would have been working for them. So all of that needed. And if you're really truly as sorry and as you're trying to make it seem that you really feel for these people, this is one of the ways that you can and should do that by, as we're saying, compensating them. There are many who are alive still. We're not talking about something. Oh, you have to worry about maybe the great grandchild and great great grandchildren and so on. Many people who were on that boat are still alive, and so they still should be um, compensated. And the families who are lost, who were lost, their next of kin, or I mean children, should be given some level of compensation as well. So I just wanted to add that, Banky, to your comment on that specific topic, and then we could move into the clip and that presentation in relation to Hamilton.
Yes. Well, once Alan ready and can play the clip at any time, then we'll just I mean, the quality might not be the best. It was early in the morning, but the clip, Alan can play the clip anytime. But yeah, son, let me continue while the clip playing. Every year, as I say, in either government, I mean, they get up. All right. So here is the Hamilton Sugar Estate. If you all know what you are looking at, which is up Hamilton before there's a new development near Carino. So as you realize, there are signs which is up, which this.
Some expats when you also people come to your country and picking up papers and all kind of stuff. When I pick up liquor, you want something. So all these are when you all remember and they want to make money off your ancestral grounds. You see? All this they want to take over. When you cap it up the sun and take the tours and the cattle shop up when they get that. Overlooking the mountain and your ancestors, and they will give tours about this. All this machinery, live museum, and nobody talking about it. Everybody quiet in Nevis. You see? And we are going to build like fools. All this historical site, them leased out to people who is known nationals. When the tourism department could take over these kind of estates. No, not them. They want that. You see? So I don't know how people away from here to come tell me about my history. See, all these signs, giving the sugar cane juice and all kind of stuff. Crap. We're supposed to be doing these things. They're local. The tourism department, the government, which is us, manage our own estate. And nobody come give no tours and charge us for our own thing. You know, love them things there. So who support these things can't love their country.
Yeah, son. That was just a little peek preview of what's going on there at Hamilton Estate. And as you realize, I'm the only one who's speaking about this. Even before the project started, I'm talking about it. When they started fixing up the well. Because there's a well there, there's a natural spring, with a fix, and which I would have assumed they're using it and the other egg with the purchase some land, we have the vanilla growing and stuff like that in the greenhouses. So it's fathom me when these standing on the island with the tourism department, the government who love to speak about when they're doing something which this is going on and the bad stream and all these different speaking up Sylvester Mead and all those who work in the tourism department. Well, how come Sylvester don't know about this? How come they not big up the pace of the tourism and all these different stuff? And not, the whole cabinet is silent about this. Not even the opposition, if there is one talking about this thing here. This not just gonna affect navies, this gonna affect Sinky too, and all of us. So when this time come around and people come to say they have all these long speeches and all these things, these evidence show something different, my virgin. So this thing when I show my youth, when the teacher one thing in school, look at the works of what the people does. Just don't listen when people speak. If you're telling somebody you love them every day, but yet you're not showing them the meaning of love and the ill treating and stuff like that. You're just speaking. These people just speaking, my virgin. And our ancestors end up in some of these places because of what? Some of us. Because of agriculture. Agriculture, you know. So the people in the St. Christina disaster, is most of them were farmers. And after that, you see our farming went down big time. But yet, people are not being compensated. We got to come better than this. And this is held on the back of every past and present. You understand? Prime Minister and Premier. Them no care,
Bankie,
Yahsonn. It's just obvious they no
here,
care.
but here is part of the problem that I have. The reality is we don't know, we the public generally don't know what arrangement was made by those who are at the helm, whether it's the Ministry of Finance, whether it is the Ministry of Tourism, whoever it is that is responsible for that project. We are not, so we don't know if it's a public private partnership. We don't know exactly what it is. And that's part of the problem. We have gotten to a point where we don't seek to get that level of consultation that we should get, and we don't seek to hold our officials accountable. And as a result, these are some of the things that we end up faced with. So we have this scenario, and as much as you are pointing out some of the issues from the perspective that you are pointing it out from, we really don't know exactly what arrangement they have, and these are things that we really should know about. Um, and though we're speaking about it, and though you have brought it up several times, I've not heard anything else that anybody else, you know, uh, have brought it to the table either.
Yeah, well, it shows silence shows a lot, you know, Yahsonn. Silence is loud, you know. So that tells a lot. You see, because I'm just here by the information I get, I can only speak and that, but the information supposed to come from the museum, the Conservation Society, and the cabinet himself. Because when the premier and plus, who you think in charge of culture? The same minister of agriculture again, you know. And this is the festive season. We talk about culture, and he got a big project, and which means he sanctioned this and agree with this, and he not speak on this. So it's just all failures in every way that it come to when it come to this minister. You see, this a culture, you know. So
Banky,
how me gonna take this?
I hear what you're saying, but I think for me, in order for me to really give my honest opinion on this scenario, I would have to like try to find out what is the arrangement, because
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
unless these
son.
people
You
have
could try
just
and find out. Me have enough. Me don't see enough. The only person I see there by this project every day is the owners of the vanilla farm. Nobody else. I don't know if planning is involved in this thing, yeah. You see me to show you? Because the work start early in the morning before 7 o'clock. Come up on the road early after 6. Man start to work long time. You see what to show you? I don't know. And do you ever hear project going on and then I hear the premier talk about these things at any cabinet the same time to make excuse, my brethren? You call things for what it is.
No, hold on,
You see what
hold
to show
on.
you?
No,
Minister
it's not
speak, you
making
know. We
excuses.
call things.
No, I
Well,
hear
well,
you, and
excuse
I'm
me,
glad
state
that you
as. Well, if you
I'm glad
listen,
that you brought the issue. I'm glad that you brought the issue to the table. However, like I am saying, even though you have brought it to the table, I don't know what arrangements have been made. So you're saying based on what you see, and I can't try to deny that, and I'm not trying to deny anything. All I'm saying is, for me, it looks and sounds interesting because one, as you said, that should be under the Ministry of Tourism, historical and conservation, or whatever it is. And for them to be taking it to do whatever it is that they're doing, they must. Sorry, let me not say must. I am presuming that they would have had some sort of authorization unless they have just taken it upon themselves and start to do that. And either way, the thing is, we are doing a lot of. I am doing a lot of guest work because I really don't know, and so maybe, well, I guess maybe somebody have to probably bring it up at one of the press conferences, you know, call into some one of these talk shows where they are or something, because that's the other thing. We don't have much of a forum to talk to these people. We hear from the premier only when he has his monthly press conference. Recently, there were some town hall meetings, but yeah. Oh, well, I see Alan asking that the same thing too. You say you don't know what that mean when you have asked but being denied and not asked.
well, I've been
Well, I
asked, but
have
what I'm
not.
gonna do, I'm gonna get question to those in the media. I mean, I've been asking, but I'll get in contact with with somebody in the media to ask these questions and stuff like that. But we all see this thing. The masses. A lot of people drive in this area. People live in that area, work on radio station, live in the area, and somehow I just quite about this way. I guess they're comfortable and don't have an issue with it. I guess well, I know I'm not the only one who have an issue with it because a lot of people reaching out to me and is very upset about this. You see, and if I'm for one, don't should be making excuses for when we put people in place to manage our fees. When these certain things you just got to come to the people and stuff like that. But we'll see the way forward. But I just bring that because it's the building is already constructed. Now it's just fittings inside and the line out of the inside or the outside of the structure is being finished. As you see, it's just working on the exterior and whatever the kitchen and different stuff, the interior and set it and whatever and go forward. But this is bad, really bad. Because when I was in the government working in the agriculture department, I asked that these areas, all the sugar estate, been I would ask I could be responsible to lead the team to clean it up, fence the area, however you want to set it, and put one or two artisan building inside there, and that be a part of the tourist destination as tourism. When people come to the island forward, the taxis they will pass through this area and stop there, and somebody can make $1 here and there. Just similar, just so do over in New River area. So if the government can invest in something like that, why give up? And this is only one of two of a live museum in a Virgin. Do a sugar estate don't know having the machineries, you know? These having machineries and and all these different things. When you want to say you're amazed, you know, I know how they get to those point up there from can they have to come from the coast and they drop out in the sky somewhere. You see what I mean? And fit into those buildings and all this different stuff. And yet something is wrong with us, my Virgin. Very wrong. So this tell a lot about who we put to govern us.
Okay, let me follow up some comments here I'm seeing from Alan. No, I'm asking if you have done it. You simply contact a journalist and have them ask the question on your behalf. If it's me directly, that question is for Alan. To be honest with you, it's not something that I have honestly followed up much. Most of the time that I have seen or heard about this topic is when Banky bring it to the table. So honestly, me personally have not sought to follow it up. Um, the next question: what is the true point of contention that it is being managed by foreigners? So I guess this is Banky. But what is the true point of contention that it is being managed by a foreigner? That is the major issue that you have.
our history and our natural resources should be managed and controlled, and the information being taught to our people to continue generational. When I travel and go to museum and different places and so forth, is most of the time, if not, you have to have indigenous people be a part of these things and make sure the information passed on is passed on and teach correctly. Otherwise, people are going to tell you what they want and bamboozle you in a sense and keep you at a certain level. We just can't think these things is okay. You see what I mean? It is important. We're supposed to see, but we are going to see things differently in our own perspective, which is fine. But in no way this something in this as silent. You know, right? It's so obvious when everybody's silent. When just doing fixing up a little thing by the bad stream, putting some flowers, you had such a charade just to put some little building here and there and wherever and plant up some flowers. It's such a charade by the bad stream. But what the difference with this one here? When this is done, the next they're going to put up lights on the road. They're going to be the government part, and then pave the road and all this different stuff, clean up some of the bush, and make up them more accessible. That's what they're going to do. But they must speak about it. No matter how long they talk, they must speak about it. You see, they have to speak about it.
Well, that's something that I must say. I have not heard anybody heard about that project anywhere other than when you have brought it to the table. And so, in all fairness, to be able to see that a project like that is taking place and no mention of from even nobody from the tourism side or the authority side or the government side. I mean, you would want to think that if a major project like that is taking place, that is something that the politicians love to tout that this is happening and things are happening in Nevis and Nevis is progressing and all of these things. That would have been should be something that should be put on the agenda, but I am not hearing anything about it, and so it begs for clarity. And I suggest maybe like Alan is suggesting that we get maybe a journalist or some one of those persons to ask a question at the press conference, and or maybe calling in and maybe on the mark or some one of those programs um, to ask a question or put the question there so that we could get some clarity. No, we shouldn't. To me, a lot of these things is going backwards because we really shouldn't have to go through this because things should be transparent. Whatever is being done, it's done. It should be done on behalf of the people, and so some sort of level of consultation and or informing of the people should take place. Um, Let me go back to Alan's comment. He has a couple more comments. He said it would be unfair to critique if you are not following up, and I would add, you are critical of the masses not following up. It is morally wrong. It is not wrong to ask for it to be explained. It preserves only one aspect of our history, specifically slavery. Oh no, he said if it is morally wrong, it is not wrong to ask for it to be explained. Yes. So yeah, I am just like I said, for me, I am not certain what the arrangement is in terms of the government and the developer and all the persons who are dealing with it. And so yes, for me, I would love to get that bit before I can really be that critical um, of it.
We all don't know nothing. We are just seeking information the same way and want to know why it is silent. You see what I mean? I mean, it been months now. When I guess no one have the
Yeah,
intention to
and
speak
I agree
about
with
it.
you.
Okay?
I totally
It's been
agree with you. I
months.
totally agree with you. And
A
especially
whole building
seeing
on
that,
building. No.
we're not hearing anything from the ministry side, the government side, in relation to what is really taking place. And like I'm saying, a project like that, I would want to think um, is something that they should have and would have want to tout as saying, well, progress is happening in Nevis and things is happening and see we're doing X or see we're doing Y. but we have not seen or heard any such thing. And so I guess it is fair, I think, to be able to ask for some sort of clarity in relation to the
You
project,
see,
and that's what I would seek to do going forward.
I can recall over the years when that project was going on. Carino when that project was going on at the time. You had hear rumors that they're supposed to develop the sugar mill, also and put restaurants and all kind of different stuff. So I was saying, okay, let me monitor this thing as we're going on, but nothing ever happened because I realized it doesn't matter which government is in power. Our people love to give things. You see, yeah. Then our government is the same thing over and over. Cause we monitor this thing for a long time in the Virgin. Been monitoring this thing a long time under NRP. Cause there was rumors that the same people who do up Carino up development where they were supposed to do something around the sugar mill restaurant and that kind of something. But just been analyze, but nothing come off. Now something come off with, and then in the next government change down the road now some same thing under government. Our people doesn't have do not want to be doing these things. Somehow we just love to give away a lot of these things are rare, you know. Remember, it's rare to find some. It's just like the sugar estate in St. Kitts. The machineries and all these things are rare to find machine like these things, you know. So when you find have a live museum like these things, you gotta treasure these things and protect it for generation, for field trips and teachings down the road and preserve these things as possible and make sure these things are secure because over the years you don't end up and lose anything can happen, you can lose the machineries and all this different stuff. So we have a civil duty to protect these things. And this, as I said, these things goes along when it comes to agriculture. If you look at the same thing, we're speaking about emancipation, the sinking of the Christina disaster, agriculture the same way. You have Indian castle, you're destroying food. Today, all week, people visiting the farm, they ask, they're going down Indian castle, they're speaking about Indian castle and why would they let stuff like this happen and all this different stuff. Somebody told me when they stopped the minister and asked him about Indian castle, he asked him if that's what they stop him for, to ask him if he know that they must stop him for, he would not stop. I said, okay then. So you just and these are people within the area, you know. You understand? Who live within when the minister live in Hallies Road. His own people asking him, I even call him when they answer the phone. If you be know this when they call him for, he would not answer. You know, gonna excuse you don't want to him nothing about what he have destroyed. So yet you can come and speak so lovely and fool those who are listening. But even those within the area, when they do go down there in Hanley's Road, they must say they're not so bad down there. So people in the village not even go down there. When they do go down there now and they come up, they can't speak. Because if they speak, the people within the party are so going to vex with them, so they have to keep quiet. But it is what it is, Yahsonn. Eventually, how everything is set is one thing I don't really figure out life. The universe always reclaim its own. So you do good, everything will go remain good with you, well, fine. If you do bad, you feel like everything will still be good with you, nothing bad happen to you, well, that is fine. But that doesn't change what the equation is. That is a beautiful, you can think how you want to think, but it's a reality. This thing is unforgivable. You do not destroy food, my virgin. You do not destroy food, you don't spend dollars, and then you destroy food just like that, like you do not care about it. But when someone was dealing with it and everything was in order, everybody praising and speaking about it lovely, and then the same minister I'm going to lie about when it comes to food, that food have been coming out of down there yearly, plus for the agricultural openly. There's no forecast since I've left. None take part in agriculture openly. And when ministers can lie like this openly, it shows. And the thing about it, Yahsonn, if you're gonna have people working in the department that don't have love for the work and the area, just move. I'm going in an area that you love to work, because remember, farmers out and the whole within the sector need and seek the professional help from those who work in the department. You know, that is the purpose of the agricultural sector, to help those within the community. And if you're not going to lead by example, well, how are they going to take you serious? That is the you're here. I mean, you're around, so you need to do. You just ask farmers about the department. You do your own research, and you'll get your own your own feedback, and you can put your information together. And when it comes to farmers, what they think, how the service from the department, how how often you visit them, what is what. And this is Friday. I'm not sure if you went and check out the area for your homework, so that you give a feedback of the state of Indian Castle and stuff like that. Because we are not here to make excuses. No, we are here to solve problem. And in order to solve problem, you have to see things for what it is in order to speak on it. You see what I mean? So the 2025 agenda goalposts have just been shifted to 2030, which means you have more time, but at the same what are we doing now? Nothing is still doing. So how you going to reach a goal when you now start to walk as yet? If you ain't start to walk, you're going to reach to on the mountain top. If you just stand up and just talk, and then take one step and take a next step the next day. Once you take a step every day, you will reach on the mountain top. But we're here not doing nothing when it comes to 2025 or 2030, whichever you want to call it. The department have nothing in plan. The last time they were speaking, and something happened way back, and Greenhouse have nothing to do with the 2025 agenda. So we're really in a bad state right now, a real bad state, and we need to encourage young people to get involved in agriculture. We have where there's poultry, where there's small ruminants, where there's crop. It doesn't matter, because in the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, who gonna be the next set of farmers? Who will be the next set of farmers? This is where we have to look at things. You see? 'Cause as the year ending, is all of us ages. So I mean, you got to start picking out who have that interest and how you them and give them that avenue to start nurturing themselves, because as the time goes by, those who are now in their 60s, they ain't going to for the next 10, 15 years doing those kind of work. So I mean, we're
Right,
gonna have less farmers.
right. Banky, I have
Yes.
I have gone back. I went to do a little research while we were here talking because I was trying to find out, who and what is, um, I guess, who's associated with this project. Um, as I did my research, it took me to an article by the same people who are organizing the project. So it's an article from Vanilla Paradise dated March 25th, and it says, Guiding through history, new panels illuminate Hamilton Estate Sugar Mill's past. The panels ready to be installed and get to work. Echoes of sugar. Like many Caribbean islands where sugar was grown, Navy still bears the marks of its sugarcane past. Weathered sugar works and massive stone windmills dot the landscape, and the remains of steam driven machinery with their copper cauldrons once used to boil cane juice into sugar sit abandoned, slowly overtaken by nature. The Hamilton Estate Sugar Mill, situated right next to our Vanilla Paradise Nevis farm, is one example. The Hamilton Sugar Mill, a neighboring landmark. Um, okay, let me go to the part that I kind of want to point out here. So he says the panels in place. A key milestone in this journey was the installation of beautifully designed informational panels that bring the story of the sugar mill to life. The text for the panels were written by our friend Douglas Mowat, a passionate engineer, and refined with the meticulous input of Navy's historical and conservation and society colleagues. David Rawlinson, Christine Eckelman, David Small, Phil Dunning, and Tina Bates now stand proudly along self-guided walking trail. So, um, basically, they would have gotten some assistance with the Navy's Historical and Conservation Society. So I don't know if that's one of the organizations that they're working closely with to make this a reality. You laugh, but I just looked into that. So that's what I'm saying. I
So
don't know what
so we could
arrangement.
now do that. We're reading that. Well, we could now write that. What there's something special you're reading there to tell me?
No, no,
What are
no,
you
no, no,
reading?
no, no, no.
Where you reading there?
No.
You're promoting. You're
What,
promoting it. Are you doing promotion?
no. What I was
Free,
looking
free
at
promotion
is
for them? Is
the part the
explain.
part that dealt with the fact that
Abandon?
they are
That you abandon?
they are in collaboration. No, no. they're in collaboration with some people from the Navy's Historical and Conservation Society. So in terms of who and what arrangements have been made, and that is why I've been asking the question, like, what arrangements have been made and we don't know, and who they have made it, whether it's tourism, Navy's Historical and
All the name
Conservation
you just
Society.
call, all the name you just call after that in the local. Half of them name to be sure for, is non-nationals. You see what I mean?
Well,
Because we let these things are taken over by non-nationals. That's our problem. You see? That's our problem. When we support, that's our problem. We got a lot of issue amongst ourselves, you know. You see? Because
mm,
we ain't
mm,
in charge of our own things. Other people in charge of our own conservation society. That's our
our
problem.
history.
We love to appoint people. We are gonna figure it out one day, you know. When we all transition, I end back up in the same predicament. So you are gonna figure it out. That's all we can say. Eh?
Well,
So, but next topic, yeah,
it's
son. If we're done with this one, huh?
no, I just see Alan Post asking if non-nationals not supposed to do business in Nevis.
That go without saying. You understand? We're just speaking when it comes to certain type of business and control of our natural resources. You're not offering the next sugar mill like that, you know. Except in New Zealand, so one is under tourism and the next one is not in control of tourism. So if you want to go in there at $20, you have to pay for a tour. Are your own estate? You understand? 20 EC or 20 US. You figure it out. You know what I mean? Somebody gonna figure it out down the road eventually. That's all it is. But yeah, son, cannabis. Nothing up to now. I mean, police still going around taking up trees. Last of the trees that they're taking up is over in the Brooklyn area and stuff like that. So don't see why around this time where this is the festive season, we just come out of a music festival. You're allowed to have cannabis free up within the season of the music festival. Allowed to have five joints and stuff like that, and matches are some kind of apparatus to light it. So I mean, it's crazy that we're not even hearing any discussion here from the same minister, the same minister in charge of the cannabis in agriculture. No conversation. What's going on? If there's a 420 lounge gonna be at in the complex or at the village? Nothing. You see what I mean? No conversation. Nothing from the premier. Nothing from the cabinet. It's just nothing at all. So it's just like I wonder if Navis really do have the interest in dealing with cannabis because I recall I asked the minister calling on the show and the premier show when you're hosting, what are the way forward when it comes to cannabis within the Navis part of it? He said, well, Navis, the
Mhm.
federal government, that's what the minister answer. The federal government is moving ahead with it, so Navis will follow. I mean, I understand what that they mean. Navis will follow. I guess he walk behind, I don't know. So that was his answer, and that's basically where we leave it. And that shows a lot where you're in charge of something and you
Okay,
can even have a conversation about it for 1 minute.
but Banky, this has been going on for about what 2 3 years now, almost 3 years now. In the sense that it has been that time since that time that this has been placed under the Ministry of Agriculture, and the only people, so to speak, that is speaking out and is crying out on this issue happens to be me and you. Me hearing no outro, me see nobody making no move to say challenge the minister to say, yo, I mean, come on, like, you're supposed to be taking actions. I mean, that is one part. Look at it. Even in relation to the parts that are more specific to us and Nevis, the 56 grams and the 5 trees, and if you want to set up a little business, a lounge or something like that. We and Nevis don't know if there's any arm of the ecclesiastic affairs ministry in Nevis to represent us in that regard. So would we have to go to St. Kitts? We don't know. And nobody has come forward, and seemingly nobody else apart from us who come here on a regular basis to address the topic of cannabis bring these issues to the table. So I don't know if the meditation that the ministers and those who are charged with, speaking to the agenda on the table is that, well, it's something that I really don't want to do anyway, and people are not agitating either. So, we could just go ahead and get away with not doing anything and get paid for not doing anything, because the reality is it's a part of his portfolio in terms of the Minister of Agriculture, and he's not doing anything. And similarly, on St. Kitts, with the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs is concerned, um, the minister there has not done anything either in relation to his part in terms of ensuring this. And so when you brought up the point of police still going around and harassing people and pulling up trees and these kind of things, it leaves for some serious questions in relation to those who are in authority. Have they start to do the work that is necessary to inform and educate those who are supposed to be charged with upholding and maintaining the laws? That's like the police and military forces and so on, so that they know that based on what is going on, and they should even, as a matter of fact, be suggesting and recommending a moratorium. Tell them, hey, go look for gunmen and go look for robbers and look for, people who molesting young children and all of these things. And just like how you're turning a blind eye to Hammond, turn a blind eye to the cannabis the same way too. Until the regulations, whatever regulations that the government is supposed to put in place. Because right now, it's unfair for you to be harassing anybody to me for anything, even though you may have your specific guidelines. The fact that if I want to grow 5 trees right now and I want that license, I can't go to any government agency and collect it. What does that mean? The fact that if for the 56 grams to travel on my person, and you said that I should have a license for that, but when I go to the office to get one, it is not ready. Then how do you, in all fairness, still want to have your police officers harassing people and then using the guise or the argument, oh, you're growing too much intent to supply and all of these kind of things. So uh, there's some serious issues here that is concerned. But for me, until our people begin to agitate, and it's the same thing like we're talking about with the same Hamilton. I mean, if there's such a real issue, why are the people not? Why just me and you? Why is just you? In terms of cannabis, why is just me and you? And the people who are being affected are saying they're coming to you and complaining, but they themselves are not planning to put a petition together. Um, Go to the government, come together and march or protest or whatever it is that it takes to get attention, so that you could get the minister to respond, or even when he's on the talk show, when he go to those panel discussions or whatever it is, bring up these questions. I'm not hearing that, and I guess maybe that is the meditation of the minister. Well, I don't really want to do it, and me getting that's not the pulse I'm getting from the people. It's something that they really want done anyway. So I could get away with not doing anything, and let me just do it that way.
Yeah, so before you move on, let me big up boy Adoa for coming king in the Groovy, in the soccer final, in the Groovy the soccer finals last night, and the runner up, Frankie Apple Cider, entering the first time to
Mm-hmm.
in the soccer monarch in both Groovy, and still gonna enter the Calypso show tonight and stuff like that. So it shows. I mean, I know he started doing the karaoke thing over Cotton Grove, and I guess he take it too serious and love it that much, and then he just when he step up a notch, and what first time he make it, so you know what I mean, what is for you, and it just shows
Yes,
the
sir.
limit and stuff. It's just gonna get better for him and stuff like that. So yeah, big up Chris and his son Rokodan, you know what I mean, in the power again, you know what I mean, father and son. So it shows a lot of talent is in the place and stuff like that. So just want to big up these guys, and I mean the talent and those even just to enter Delhi ranks and all those who enter the show and stuff like that. I mean, it's not easy going on stage in Singits and Nevis, you know. this is a university when it comes to judging and when it comes to being in the stage presence and facing the crowd is tough. And otherwise, someone who been taking part in the calypso and the music
A
for
long
years, more
time.
than 20 years, long time, and never give up. I know he had a spark where, you know what I mean, he had stopped singing for a 1 or 2 years and then he get back into it again. So it just show consistency. And I know we got a lot to talk about when I run into him and stuff like that, and probably can give him an interview and real entertainment, and Alan and Aris and Ira can give him organize an interview with him and see how he feel and what encourage him to keep pushing. Same thing with Hollywood. I remember when Hollywood started when we were all in school and Hollywood entering the junior calypso show and all this stuff there, and I say this youth got talent once you keep, and he always manifests like that. Once you just keep going, and you just don't give it up. As you get older, you are a bit more creative, and so I'm just happy for these guys, for all those who even just taking part and stuff like that. So let's see what's going to go on tonight when it comes to the Calypso show and who plays, and but just big up all the contestants and them and all those who taking part in it. Yes, so tomorrow now is the food fair. I mean, I know we're here promoting culture and the activities, but at the same time, real entertainment and receive no kind of, compensation to say, well, to help promote the festival activities. But yet, you listen to radio station in St. Kitts and it's all over the place here and there and everywhere. And so, but yet, I mean, media like this that promote it consistently every year. I mean, we got to get out of this area environment where we just keep fighting each other, and those who really go out and promote the island. And that is what I mean. Real entertainment is ambassadors for singers and navies. I mean, they're not getting compensated to promote these activities, but yet every week after week after week, we come here and promote these activities, whether it's government or private, it doesn't matter. We just promote, and that's what our media is all about. So it's hopefully one day, if not, the government do a mature. I mean, it just need a whole systematically change where things are done the right way and everybody get a chance. Because resources, everybody resources, not just one or two particular person who may support a government or whatever entity, which is the people, but always come up to the people. You're just bad minding the people for whatever reason it is, and not feel well if you're not supporting whatever it is, my cause, then no, we gotta get rid of that. Real entertainment have proven itself that is for everyone, is not a political entity of either one, so they should really be treated different and be given a task when it comes to promoting activities of the government or anything like that. So I just want to put that out there because really unfair you listen at the radio station across the waters. I mean, this cultural art going on and these shows and different stuff, but yet a media like this that consistently promoting is not given a chance when they come to showcase and they have the means to do it. So hopefully these things change and people and the viewing audience, listening audience, be an advocate for real entertainment, and eventually these things open doors within, and it's not like the officials within the government and especially in the cultural committee don't know these things. I mean, you have all of them no real entertainment, so I mean it's about time everything is spread across on a playing field.
Yeah, definitely. I am in full support that, you know,
And this,
real entertainment, real entertainment should be given a lot more credence and should be getting some of that sponsorship, money, as we definitely seek to push culture armor and the activities for culture armor. We do have the interviews, a lot of things that we do that demonstrate that, we are that media outlet that do have that following and that level of responsible journalism and attract a wide audience. And so I think, as we continue to do what we're doing, we hope that in the not too distant future, those who are at the helm would see the need to recognize Real Entertainment Network as one of such powerful media houses, not just in the region, but globally. And so we definitely look forward to in times to come and in years to come that we would have to be back here to say that we would be actually maybe complaining that there's so much acts that we can't really do and be as free as we want to be on the show. So let's look forward to that as we continue on the journey. Banky,
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
you got it.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. I was just gonna talk about the Marcus Garvey son. I'm not sure what the topic would have been.
Oh well, I brought it up a bit earlier. I just mentioned that he would have been visiting, and that is a very powerful opportunity for us in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to be able to be graced by such a powerful leader. There is an actual event taking place that is under the distinguished patronage of Her Excellency Dame Marcella Liebert, the Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis, on the 6th of August, 9 to 10 a.m. There should be a ceremony at Port Marcus ceremony at Pump the Fig Tree, that's in Sandy Point, and then later on that same morning, 10:30 to 11:30, there should be another meeting at Mutual Improvement Society building Market Street last year. Um, it's commemorating the visit of Marcus Garvey back in 1937 when he came to St. Kitts, and he would have made certain utterances and certain speeches then. He was fought against to some extent, um, you know, but I think it is fitting, and especially as we celebrate Emancipation Day, it is fitting that we do have Marcus Garvey celebration. And I hope that folks who are around and would be interested, I hope that we could eventually revive the branch or branches of the UNIA on St. Kitts and Nevis because I think there were branches back then, and I am not certain if they're still active, but maybe that is something that we should consider as we move forward.
Well, I mean, no, the seventh also they're supposed to have from 9 to 10 a.m. Also at the Independence Square. I mean, a gathering there, a discussion. I guess it's for an hour. So that will be on the 7th. So as much who want to be, I'll try to see if I make some time, see if I can be a part and of that historic event. So I'll try to clear my calendar and run across the waters and then come back over and be on the farm. But at least just to go down and come back up. That is something I can definitely, because these things don't come around every day. So
Yes.
definitely go down and try to have Dr. Julius Garvey. I mean, that will be a part invite Junior Pope to be a part of this, which will be at the African Village, which is the circus. The circus is where? We call the African Village. Yes, son.
The circus.
Yeah, that's in the in the
I,
in the in the heart of town. That's in the heart of town. Where the clock is in the area there.
I think so. Yes. I think that is in that area. I think there's a little space in between
Yeah,
the that is utilized. I think when they had
with the taxi man, with
when
the
they had
taxi man in the be.
yeah, just below there. I think somewhere in that space below there, because I think when they had the rally for Abraham Traore, I think that is where they held that.
Okay, so that is where the event gonna be August 7th, 9 to 10 a.m. So it's just an hour for, I guess, a small gathering and stuff like that. So I'll reach out to Kalanji and for example for more information and go from there. So at least next week we have a little more information we can speak and our public can get him to be a part of this show next week Tuesday, if anything. If we have a show next week Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
All right. Another last lap. 'Cause I'm not sure if you're going last lap and do anything, So I was just asking Troop and Ban, and I don't know what your schedule look like. So,
Yeah,
but
man. Remember,
yeah, I'll get it.
remember, we're farmers. Farmers don't take holidays, So you know what I mean. We still working. So yeah.
Right.
So
Well, you still have time. Within the time, you can still go out in the day, have some fun, and still come back in and do the
right.
show either way. So that's fine. Okay, it's an 8 o'clock show. But I'll reach out to Kalanji, and see we can get a little interview and have a little discussion on what is in general public in a sense like that. Okay. But yeah, son, as you realize, I mean, it's July. August had just finished with the end of we're in the third quarter. So far as this quarter going, and the phase two at Indian Castle still ain't started as yet. So is this more lies the minister speaking about? This is what we're talking about. This is the third quarter. In the house last is in the first quarter, phase two. He spoke eloquently, as you know how the minister speak when in front of a
mm,
mic. That and assure that the general public phase one of Indian Castle will be started. But it's today again this week. I was speaking to some people, and the recommendation I told them to just tell them, just the whole cabinet, just tell the cabinet if you and them is friends, just seize and desist and leave Indian Castle until a proper plan can, in essence, continue. Paying, wasting civil servants, tax, mo- taxpayers' money, and you're not getting anything out of down there. You see what I mean? The interest is just not there. So why just prolong in something? Well, unless it's same, okay. Anyway, so that is by design. That's what people, so the school children they must say. Okay,
I sound like you're
can hear
breaking
it
up a
about
bit there,
in
Banky.
I don't know. Well, but as everything going, the minister said he gonna do phase two. He have so let's see what's gonna happen because yes, so if plants don't have water now go grow, and if rainfall once in a while here and there, it don't make no sense. You see what I mean? So it can have people getting up every day. You have made an investment, and the only thing change at Indian Castle is the manager. Only the manager change. The manager change, and you change the workers and them, and these workers them is changed by the minister and the manager that is there. So ain't nobody else to be blamed for the state of Indian Castle. Along with the cabinet, because the cabinet knows what's going on, the premier know what his deputy is doing, and the minister himself telling people in his village when they call him and they ask him about Indian Castle. If he's that he know they stop if and ask about, he would not stop. So he just shows the arrogant ways of the minister instead of taking responsibility of what he have created within his own community. That is the beautiful thing about it. It's in his own community. He himself when I was down there, brought down there on more than one occasion the elderlies in buses for tours. So you can't make up these things, yeah. He brought the elderlies down there all the time for tours with these guys you know what I mean, from Ginger with the buses, 2 and 3 buses. So you see what I'm talking about, right? So you cannot make up. So how can you enjoy something, bringing people to? So you care about the same elderly them down there, show them the same place. I ain't not down there again. So you see what we're getting at. You cannot
Yeah.
make up these things, you're virgin. So when you're gonna go willingly and lie in front of people in your own village with the community center and telling Mr. Hanley his information is incorrect and food have been coming out of Indian Castle for every open day, you can't make up that day. You can't make up the things, my virgin. The whole agriculture department is in awe that the minister said something like that. Every department within the agricultural sector, you can claim it. They can't believe it is something like that there. You can go from to small farm to the vet to the abattoir, any way you pick. The one if the minister gone mad to utter such an ignorance when he know when who he trying to cover up for and making it to look good. If he's the manager, why he said that? Because no data and no information is there when everybody down there is neglected. And it's not the first time because you can recall he had some experts had to put out an article within the newspaper how they ill treating the animals and all this different stuff down there. So this is the ongoing thing. So this is it's a nothing have changed. It's 2 days somebody come and tell me they had to go back there and fix the gate because the dog then come outside and run behind them in the truck. Yeah, they come and the farm and tell me so. That the gate ain't closed properly, that to go back and close the gate because the dog then come out and I run up and down behind them. And then he go in the done there yet. Then somebody gone dump a old boat in front and the other side of the estate because they figure the estate abandoned so they could dump trash there. A boat. A whole boat. You hear? So if you go down there now, a boat gonna be on the opposite side in front of the gate. Just dump it there. A boat. So how you can you dump? So it means everything abandoned. So now people dumping trash in front of the orchard. A boat, a whole boat. So this is what the minister have created, a boat. So it mean a boat have been up on a trailer or something. So how you dump a whole boat in an area right in front of the orchard? You see what I meant? Right in front of the orchard, which
Maybe
by have
maybe
park.
they're planning to export, so the boat is a sign to show,
Okay.
well, yeah, we get
All right.
we get this.
So this is a light moment. This is a
Yeah,
light
moment, yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Okay. All right. You're a joke. Well, maybe it is. The boat are gonna load up to
But
start ship out stuff.
yeah, man. So that's what the boat is there for, to let folks know that, yeah, we got so much stuff in here that we're gonna be shipping. But and I will, when we look at that in itself, Banky, Nevis is just a strange place, I mean, I'm back here and I'm learning, and I'm learning, I'm watching, and I'm observing, and seemingly, a lot has changed, but a lot has still remained the same. A lot has changed infrastructurally. You can see a lot of different buildings, and buildings going up, and different things, happen. But in terms of the mentality, to some extent, to a lot of the people, it's still the way it is. And when you could look at when
Yes.
you could look at when you could look at a project like that, where it's so obvious that, as you mentioned, over $1 million was invested in that project. You manage the project. You have resigned, and have handed over the project almost 2 years ago. And since then, people can see the evidence. People have spoken about it. People have written about it. People have, all sort of things. And even through that, um, you know, we still not hearing, instead of actually acknowledging why we messed up and let's seek to fix it, we hear absolutely nothing. Silence. Um, and silence from the government, and yet the people whose investment has gone down the drain would still opt to not speak up and speak out, and may even go back and vote for said minister. Um, so that's why I say, we're really in a strange place, and I just have to observe, and at the same time seek to be the change that I want to see.
But yes, and definitely we really got to improve our agriculture sector. I mean, right now everything is needed. I mean, we're into August now. I mean, as you look, is the Christmas season. Then before that, you have World Food. The school gonna be opening, and in these times, is not a lot of food is available when it comes to ground food and different stuff. So how are we going to
Mm.
improve? What are in place to encourage people to go? What land policies are put in place by the department? The ministers, nobody talk about land policies. We are talking about selling all these land, but yet we're not earmarking any land for the agriculture in sector when it comes to animals, crop, cannabis. I mean, that's like a dead note. Cause this is some one thing I guess the minister, which mean the premier have to take the agriculture from this particular minister, cause he just now function, he just now work. You see what I mean? He have not put nothing in place as he was seen being the minister. Everything that have been continuing was continuing after Mr. Jeffers. The same poultry project, everything is under Mr. Jeffers, and still can't get off the land, off the ground. So I mean, purchasing a building is one aspect of it, yes, and when it comes to poultry, is a very sensitive business. So I mean, you have to have people who want to take up this thing into training. Yet, in land is the land is still not secured. I mean, you're looking at land. So I mean, when will these lands be secured? What funding would be available for farmers or those who want to get involved? Because this was the first topic about this poultry area, young people and those who want 500 birds and contribute. But all of a sudden now the conversation have changed where it seems like if you want to get involved in this poultry project, you're going to have to seek your own resources, go to your banker and get your loan. No funding will be available or anything like that to when they come to assist you. So how can you prove that this thing going to be anything within the agricultural sector? I want to work and work well. And those who make investment make a profit on the investment. I'm encouraging all these things, but you got to bring the information right to the people for those who are going to take this chance. I know a farmer who don't spend and buy over 3 years now buy a whole machine when it comes to slaughtering poultry, a whole line from everything automated machinery. And the minister could tell the gentleman is that he didn't know the building would have cost so much to build. You see, but luckily the gentleman bought this thing cash, so he ain't have no mortgage on this. Otherwise, and he just there sitting down. So imagine you make an investment over $100,000 by a slaughtering machine for birds, for poultry and stuff like that, and just been there sitting down to that for over 3 years. You see, so it just to show you what private investors have already invested in because they hear the minister speaking on this poultry product and the cabinet and they figure, well, yeah, this is a go. Yet no, is just is a bounce check. You see, so you're going to buy a machine, happily think everything and realize when you don't buy the machine, the minister to buy tall and I go work in the cars. I didn't know the building cost much of money. You see, so I mean, even the minister himself gone buy a machine for, for the project and the machine in the storage. So he went after and buy a machine when he got a gentleman, don't buy a machine, and he still went and buy a machine. So you can make up this thing. You say you got two machines, then leave it sit down. Eh? Not just one, the man bought the machine before the government, and he still went and buy one and don't say no. So what is in these things for me to take this gentleman is serious? Huh? You're moving backwards. You see, this thing we just pedaling in backwards, your son. What I've realized, we promote failures within the civil service. Okay, the more you fail, is the more you're promoted. I was told by a PS, when someone come like you once in a while, Banky, and make everybody look bad, it show that you're showing that the failure and the low productivity within the civil service because you have people like you who are committed and all about getting work done and not watching time. You make everybody within the civil service look bad. These are things PSs are telling me, So it means that people are vexed with me for performing, you see, because them who get paid and not perform. Not enough perform, but enjoy failing. So when you come behind, so certain places we are just not supposed to work, yes, son, because you're not gonna be loved within that area. Because once you move from that area, it's gonna show who are holding on the fort. You
Right.
see, it's just gonna show, and the evidence showing. Because for years they had me as if I'm the brainchild, I'm the poster child of agriculture. Every minute my wife me where they car, well, only you want to work agriculture. The general public asks me only you want to work agriculture. Me no want him to call my name, but me just love them alone because I just say he make me feel any different because I know it's just trickery. So me not pay attention to stuff like that because I'm on a different level to how when these guys call them my name, don't mean nothing to me. You see what I mean? You're gonna just make themselves look bad because they're gonna have to go back. So why they don't call other people name now? Anybody else name they took out in the department? Except they would speak about the abattoir. So in the abattoir would exist. Because all of here, if not Miss Gary Griffin. So that's the only area
Okay.
excelling in the department. So we got these are situations where you cannot in an environment and praising area to the department, Indian Castle. The productivity was there. the truckage that the whole of Navy seen coming into the park when it comes to agricultural open day and all this different stuff. The evidence is there. And there will never be, I mean, when I say never, so let me just say never, but since the agriculture open day our department have been established, there have never been that amount of watermelon for any ever open day. Because the most we would have for the 2 days is 2,500 pounds of watermelon for 2 days. When I was told that, I was blown away. You see, 2 days, and in one day you got over 8,000 pounds, and within hours the melon them finish, along with sorrel, cassavas, and all this crop come out of Indian Castle when when the masses was there. So and a few or whoever was saying waste of time. Cause remember this was the a talking point for months upon months, you know. So this is not just something that's supposed to be watched and act like it didn't exist. This was talking points we are going to be dealing with the NRP, those in opposition, and then I'm going to be dealing with those who support the government now in power. You see what I mean? One say you're making it look good, my me do me work, and the next day say you're making it look better. So don't do me work. So I mean, this to make it does this. So now this to make any sense. So now the work have been done. Them who now embrace it, mash it up. you, you see what I mean? Them who enjoyed it, the own golden trail. The minister put the golden trail of his own party. You understand the golden trail? I call him, you know, mash it up. So now they can't talk about it. It's their own mash it up. You see, it's no longer Bankie, you know. It's their own biggest supporter. Mash it up. So nobody can speak about it. But I want to reach out to my good friend Flamingo, Choco. I want him to write a song about Indian Castle and the destruction of Indian Castle cars. You understand? And the manager and the Minister of Agriculture kind of and Bingito. Those are great songwriters, and my good friend Astro, they come about agriculture cars. It's his song we've been using over the years and stuff like that. When it comes to the agriculture sector, so I want Astro to put out a song when it comes to Indian Castle and the destruction of food security and the Indian Castle. I mean, they should. You see what I mean? They should, because they all speak well of the project. So ain't no reason why they now should not put a song in place and call and what have been done to it. I'm a good friend, this and that, of course. Cause he has done there with his camera and love the environment, some kind of to this and that to bring out a song about agriculture and the destruction of Indian cattle. So, and all these are people that support the government and all this thing, and they all is upset about the situation. But you realize they all are silent and cannot speak about Indian castle. But it will pay. Everything will work itself out down the road, Yahsonn. Yeah, because they will have to answer to the general public, not just in Nevis, you know. They'll have to answer to those who had visited, and also want to encourage the Taiwanese ambassador, Michael Lin, to visit with his technical team, take a visit to Indian Castle also. Because they was there in the beginning. The information is there if you Indian Castle
But Banky,
visit from yes.
I don't think Michael Lynn need to visit, because Michael Lynn would have first-hand experience in terms of what happens after handing over several projects to the federal government. Similarly, it's just that in your
Of
case,
course.
you were not a Taiwanese, you were a local who would have developed the project
Yes.
and developed it to the level where the Taiwanese would have seen the work that you would have done and commended you for the job that you have done and you would have done.
Yes.
And then after handing it over to the government, similarly to Echo Park and the other place there on the King Collins Highway, to the government, we see the end result of such things. And it's sad and those parts, and even more sad in your case where it's a local who would have demonstrated the ability to do what foreigners have been doing, so to speak, demonstrate and was showing examples, and you were able to demonstrate in such a way with such limited staff. 6 people working 40 acres, almost 40 acres of land, and were able to put on such a proper demonstration to the point where he was not just recognized by the NIA, but you were recognized federally, you were recognized regionally, and you were recognized internationally. And that speaks volumes. And so it's sad that after such an investment, and it's even more sad that the investment is our taxpayers' money, and our taxpayers are silent. So it seems as if that is why, bad spending or spending money recklessly or misusing money or whatever it is don't seem to mean anything to the general public, or at least the supporters of the present regime, because you look at some of these things and you start to calculate the money that has been lost. It's amazing. Your mic on mute, Banky.
Yes. You see, one would want to say, well, there's a director, and one would want to say, well, there's a deputy director, or there's an assistant PS. But this situation, when it comes to the development of Indian Castle and just the upkeep and the neglect, the manager have told directly these people he do not answer to them. So you see, there's no the protocol have been dismantled, and he only answered directly to the minister. So I cannot blame Mr. Elliott or Mr. Leiber bringing any one of them when it comes to Indian Castle project, because this is just a personal handpick, because the former peers have laid everything out when it comes to the minister to let Marvin DJ Woodis, since he was trained under me, to continue to manage the estate. But the minister himself said he don't want Marvin, Miss DJ Woodis to have no kind of thing to when it comes to Indian Castle to manage down there. He want his friend, the golden child, to manage Indian Castle. So that was what had happened. So now the minister had to lie to protect his friend to the general public, because people are not accustomed to go and challenge when they say things and go and look and do report on what he have said and have the information. I have all the tangible information, all the data is there within the ministry. I mean, I have visitors from the department this week. They come and check my farm and collect my data. So my name will always be within the ministry, because I'm collecting data, but there's a data called my farm come collecting data, and it's just about a year old, not even complete a year old as yet. Because is this August last year, this self I started cleaning the land. So it's not unfinished. You understand? Planting out the land in October. So you understand what I mean? So one shop in September, and the next and the last acre finish up in end of October. So it's still fully not a year yet. A year starting the process of bringing in the excavator and stuff like that. And within by November, December, I'm harvesting stuff. So it just show you, if you have that interest, you just have to give those people who have the interest and the know-how. But a lot of people, as someone said, will sit aside, criticize, see people doing stuff, and think they have the know-how and all they can do, but then they realize what is important is the know-how and the time. You've got to put in the time. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And if you don't know the know-how, it's just not going to work either. Or the compassion. So doing these things, it putting people forward, they think they're going to make you look good. But instead, these same people that you put and who are your friends, make you look better. And this is what the ministry and the agriculture department trying to figure out. How can a people working within you when everybody's supposed to get in along, and one of them will just dismantle something like that? It just blow their mind. The whole staff is just mumbling in awe and is in shock and is in disappointment, where one of the co-workers, especially as at the top of the food chain as the chief extension officer, where you have younger officers who's supposed to look at you as the one to come to for information and advice, to lead them. They now come to you, because first they also when we come to you for when you can't even manage a project, or you're going to tell me how you're going to discipline me, when the information is where the whole world laughing after the whole department. So right now the agriculture department is very embarrassed. The staff is they feeling about it, because it's just a negative reflection when everything was going along in the castle and the agriculture department getting a lot of kudos and praises, and now it's all negative. you understand, feedback because of one individual and the minister. Your mic, your son. Check your mic.
Sorry about that. So what about us, the people who have invested over $1 million into a project that has just gone? You know what I mean? Why aren't we just as disgruntled as the other staff members and so on? This is why I say sometimes Nevis is just an interesting place, because you could have all these facts, you could have all these
Yes.
information, and then you have all these people silent, and some of these people will even come and complain to you about these things.
Yep.
But then when it's time for them to take the necessary action, then you see something totally different and you hear something totally different. And so I am just hopeful that as we continue to seek to bring the issues to the table, that a lot more people would be more informed and take time to critically analyze what we are saying and some of the information presented, and then eventually take action. Banky, as we
Yes.
are winding down, I wanted to take a few minutes to go back into the topic of fair share, because I've been hearing a lot of discussion surrounding the
Oh,
topic. We would have had the Attorney
the,
General recently on a program. We would have heard the former Premier of Nevis on a program. And even recently, I think earlier on today, that was part of the discussion of another program on St. Kitts. Now, I keep hearing um, the way the issue is being bantered about. And I am yet, even with the Attorney General, his intervention, I am yet to hear
okay, your son.
any.
Let me
Yes,
say,
sir.
let me say this. Let me just say this, because I guess what the premier is putting out, as I've been saying all the time, why don't Dr. Joe release the information? But you're saying the premier asking for it. No, Wednesday night you hear the premier saying he not he not asked for nobody to ask for the report, and he was told shared in secrecy just to look or get copy for he to go through. So if anything report, let the prime minister release. So you see everything I've been saying come out exactly how it is. When you're saying the
Mhm.
premier is the one, so the premier shifting the blame to, because that's how it is. He not saying no, I know, all he know. Why can't they use the constitution, which don't set something there? What is the problem? Why it's so difficult? Why navies can't get what belongs to navies? Can no, what he's arguing about is not he asking for the CBI. That what he basing on the CBI, the passport money. But if the passport money is not a part of the constitution, and we supposed so which they don't want to share that then. That was thinking they want to share the passport money then. Because the passport got to think it's a navies. So if we
Well,
supposed to be
you
brothers
see,
and sisters,
you see,
you see
you
what I
see,
mean?
yeah, but here is the dilemma, and I guess this is part
Yes.
of what I find is a bit interesting. Now, when the argument of campaigning for fair share started, I think the term was loosely used and used in a way to play and prey on the emotions of the masses. As you are pointing out, and was later pointed out by the minister, the premier himself, when he was challenged, I can remember, on a radio program on St. Kitts, where it was asked, when you speak of fair share, what specifically are you speaking of on? And he pointed out that he was speaking in relation to the shares of the citizenship by investment. However, the citizenship by investment, as you also pointed out, is what is considered non taxable revenue. Now, the Constitution speaks to the taxable revenues, the revenues that are taxed, and how it should be shared within the Federation. Now, that sharing arrangement was breached by Nevis and breached by the government that is in power right now. And so this is what I'm saying. A lot of games were being played with the art of fair share.
Me understand. Me understand the part there, no, with the taxable part, but the part with the passport money. What is the issue with the passport money for Navy's part? What is the issue there? Why nobody want to settle
But
that part?
the
What
issue
is
is,
difficult about that part? Yes.
here is the issue. Seemingly, the issue is that it is non-taxable. They had a
Fine. So so that's fine. I understand that.
they had a Charleston Accord or Charleston Accord agreement. Within that agreement, they were
Yeah, but no,
supposed
no.
to.
I talking about something legislated. Me no want hear about no agreement that
But,
nobody write up in the office.
but,
What about legislated doing things professionally as the attorney
but,
general and legislate laws and all these things? And this is what I want to hear. Nothing about we call it a love letter agreement
well,
between
Bankie,
boys
I'm
and
just
no.
telling
That make
you.
no sense.
I'm just telling you how it is. For what you are
Yes,
suggesting, it would mean now that they would have to put it in the consolidated funds and or put it in as taxable revenue or get it
me not care what they
whatever
do.
legal
Do it right.
mechanism. Then,
Do it.
but here the
Yes,
problem.
on the
But here the
right.
problem with that, Banky, hold on.
Yes.
This is where and why I guess this issue is so interesting because it is outside of the realm of the law and being legal and the constitution. However, those things that are under the realm of the constitution is being breached. So you're arguing for fair share, and that's what I've been saying. To me, from my vantage point, the argument for fair share has always been flawed. Because here is it, you're arguing for a fair share of non-taxable revenue, which you are entitled to. So I'm not saying
Yes.
that we shouldn't be seeking to get the fair share of that CBI. But however,
Yes.
on the backdrop of that, there were and is the taxable revenues and an arrangement for those to be shared. And you who is arguing for the fair share of the CBI have opted to disregard, and throw away the taxable constitutional revenue arrangement. So if
Yeah,
you
but
who are hold on, Banky, wait, let me make this point here. If you who are arguing for
yes.
the non-taxable revenue and that whatever agreement that was made, you say it's a handshake, remember that is not legally binding. But you have disrespected the legal binding. So what premise do I have that whatever other arrangement that I make in terms of that you ain't gonna just disregard it to like how you're disregarding that which is legal and constitutional. And the constitution is supposed to be the highest law of the land. And then the other question I have now, where that is concerned, is why the constitution is allowed to be broken or breached, and nobody, whether the attorney general, governor general, prime minister, whoever, they seek to take legal actions to fix that legal problem. And I think that is where we are with the fair share, because in terms of seeking to address the non-taxable, the prime minister, in his wisdom, would realize that he cannot seek to address the non-taxable without going back to those same taxable revenue sharing arrangement that was there prior, that has been breached. And this is something that I am not hearing that part of the argument, so to speak, so much from those who are even pushing the fair share argument, because the reality is you had a constitutional arrangement, you choose not to. You say, and I mean, and even in the quest for this fair share of the CBI, one of the things I heard the premier say, where he's not interested in the tax that is made from somebody in Kayan, which is alluding to the same argument that led to they opting to disregard the constitutional sharing arrangement. So if you are not even respecting the constitution, what guarantee that I have with that any other agreement that you come with that you're gonna agree with it? You're gonna continue? When even that which is legal, you are choosing to break. So that is
Yeah, but
where I am.
Yahsonn, I know you keep saying that the NIA break and disrespect the constitution, but they can't disrespect it unless the federal government agree with it too. So both of them agreeing on the same thing. That's why we keep holding them both accountable, because if the federal government allowing them when they're supposed to abide by this constitutional law and share the tax revenue, but how they just leave it do what they want, they have to agree with it. They have to agree with
Well,
it because I mean they might keep the one too. So both of them
good.
do this upgrade the law. That's what my thing I keep saying
Okay.
all the time. I mean, I say you can't sing like Nevis
Good.
and live sing kids.
Okay. So good. So good. So then, if you break in the law in terms of sharing arrangement, what guarantee that whatever conclusion you come to with the CBI shares, that is going to continue and not be treated the same way that the Constitution is being treated?
Well, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Because the Constitution is the law about law that place everything what was supposed to go guided by, but then I
And that
follow
and
it.
that ain't working, and they ain't following that. So what
Then
guarantee you have now that whatever agreement? 'Cause remember the Charleston card come up, and see they ain't agree with that neither.
but
That
that's
ain't
the
work
whole
out either.
point.
So
But of
so
course not, because that's the
that
whole
is why I'm
point.
saying. That is why I'm saying, in relation to all of that, and looking at all of that, that is why I guess the Prime Minister said, "Now look here, me ain't want to choose somebody from here who might have some sort of bias or whatever to look at this. Let me let an international body look at this and come up with something." No, he has
No,
come up with
no,
something.
because the premier say he had his own thing inside there. He had population ratio. He don't have the equation inside the charts in the card. So the prime minister had no right to go boy a girl international. That's what he said. A 12-year-old six farmer can figure it out because we going by X amount of this. The premier guy walk out to their head, The premier, maybe the premier
But
the smartest man in
yes,
the the guy walk out to their
and I
head.
hear that. I hear that,
Oh,
and
so
also the constitutional sharing arrangement was under some sort of arrangement. Also, I don't know if it was
yeah,
population.
but the premier don't mind that. The premier don't mind
What they
that.
use.
If you
No,
mind one day, he might do
you
one that he
can't
walk
say
out with
that.
it.
This is what I say. You
But
can't,
that way I show
you
you.
can't, you can't ignore half and then walk up address another half. But you can't tell
What
me
do you
you're gonna
mean?
disrespect the constitutional sharing arrangement and then you want to come create another arrangement for something else that's non-taxable
Of
and
course,
think that
yeah, yes, son, of course. Yes, because you
no,
can't blame alone. You gotta blame the federal government too. Is both of them
so,
refuse to
so
share the revenue.
if the two of
That's what
them
me
to
try
be
to show you.
blamed,
That
no,
if
but
is that what it
blame,
is?
blame. Well, okay, it's not so much about blame, What I was
Which
pointing
one?
out is the fact
You
that
can't.
it
Yes.
was the NIA that opted to
Uh-huh.
stop the constitutional sharing arrangement, and it is
That
under
is
the
supposed to
same
happen. That's the whole
government.
point.
It wasn't supposed to
The
happen, but hear what I'm saying.
cast
Hear what
think
I'm
it
saying.
agree with
It
it, think it agree
happened.
with it. They
Hold
agree with
on.
it. So which way both
It
should agree
wasn't
with it.
supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it happened, and it happened it happened
Okay.
under NRP. It happened under CCM. This is what I'm trying to point
Yeah,
out,
but so
And it's the same
I
CCM now
understand that.
arguing for the shares, the fair share, so to
So why
speak,
think it not
of the
being blamed?
CBI.
So why think it not being blamed to go along with this? Why think it's the federal government that have the attorney general is not being blamed for going all and infringing on the rights of the people? Make sure that the resources are shared equally and equitable, but way that the constitution say. Because them is the head. It's them allows navies
No,
to break the
no, no,
law, so
no,
they go
no,
along
no,
with
no.
it.
Ain't totally like that, Ain't totally like that.
Is what?
The reality is Banky. Okay, if I got a pie, I got a pie, right? And Otter,
Uh-huh.
you're supposed to get a certain share.
That's the
And
law.
I supposed
You have to share the pie
yeah,
all the
and
time.
I'm supposed to get a certain
Good.
share. And then you choose to
Yes.
say, well, look here, we
No,
ain't
no,
gonna buy
no, no. You can't
we ain't
choose
gonna buy
because it's a law. You can't change that, brethren. in a work so because you must change the law that you must change the law. You can't just up and
So,
say no, me not
okay.
bother share.
So
Me hold
then,
my own share. Can't work.
but that is what, but that is, you say it
It
can't work,
can't
but it
work.
has been working. You say it can't
But
work, but it has been working for the
yeah, but
past years.
and yeah, but it is
That is
wrong,
what has been
yes, and that's the
happening.
point which you destroy you. It is wrong by
So,
both
but that's the
sides.
point. I've been saying this from day one that Nevis have broken the law, and there's no
Not
recompense
Neve is
and no
broken the law.
nothing.
You see, no. You see, that's the problem we have. What you say, Neve is broken the law. What we think it though? What the hell think it do? Think it a share? Think it a hold their own money too? Both of them break the law, Virgil. You can't say one break the law.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It was supposed to share. You choose to hold on to your one. Well, then automatically you can hold on to mine.
Who, your
If
son
you
it is
choose,
supposed to work. It the
you
both
say
break the
you're
law. That's
supposed to,
what you want to
you
say.
say you're
Yes, it
supposed
happened.
to.
That is fine. But the both breaking the law, which is both the both disrespecting the constitution and the citizens of the island and doing by what the both want
Exactly.
to
That
do,
has been
playing
happening.
politics.
That has been
So let me
happening.
set it like that. So let me stop
But
blame
that is what,
Nevis and blame both the federal and
no,
local
the
government in
reason,
Nevis. It's
no,
both of them.
sorry. Banky, hold on. I think maybe you are taking, maybe you're taking my point the wrong way. It's not so much about blame. What I am seeking to point out is that it
Both
is
to
the
blame.
same and it's the same administration that did that that is now seeking to argue for fair share of the non-taxable. That is all I'm
Yes,
seeking to
can
point
nothing
out.
wrong with them because there's nothing wrong with them. I don't know, you know. They don't see nothing wrong with what with that breaking the constitution is wrong. You see, because the federal government is not being blamed for that. So no, they don't make blame. They don't make nice for something that is not in the constitution to come up with their own agreement how we gonna work. Of course,
Well,
me see what they do.
okay. For me, I just wanted to get that aspect into the mix of the discussion because
Of course, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't think that part is, I've not heard it in that way in relation to when I've heard the argument, whether it's from the Attorney General, from the former Premier Joseph Parry, who would have had his thing
Because
on
they're gonna
Paget.
protect themselves, yes, son. They
No,
told you have to
but
protect themselves because they know Navy is supposed to support the resources supposed to share, so he can't speak on it. They're gonna look bad too. That is the whole point because they can't allow navies to say
my
they're gonna take
thing is,
hold the money when they're supposed to share the resources. Eh?
you, but it has been done. But my
Yeah,
thing
that's
is,
fine. Yes,
I
so
just
they've been
wanted.
infringing on we right for the cannabis, which is and the same thing when it is wrong. They must cause to do the
So
wrong all the
here's
time, you know.
so this is one of the
Oh,
things that I have all the time I've been saying. If the government themselves is breaking the law, which is the highest constitution, the constitution, which is the highest
good,
law of the land, and they are getting away with it,
good.
well, what is there for anything else? And that's what I'm saying. If they could break that,
Well, the people gonna have to kill them to
what
court. The
guarantee,
people gonna have to kill them to court.
what
The people gonna have to
what
kill them to
guarantee
court.
we have that if they come up with some agreement which is not constitutional, that that is still not going to happen the same way down the line again. But
Of
anyway,
course,
Banky,
that's normal. Yes.
it's a good debate and discussion and topic to wrap up this edition of everything agriculture with because we are now what 2 hours and 3 minutes into the session. Um, I just wanna say thanks to all of you. Who would have opted to log in this evening. We know that a lot of folks will be busy with Culturama. It's Friday evening. People might be at the Calypso show and all that. Some people will definitely listen on the repeat, maybe tomorrow. So be sure to log in and subscribe to us on YouTube, on Facebook. The video would only be up for 30 days and then it would be taken down. But it would always be on YouTube for now, at least until maybe they come up with some similar scheme or something like that. But Banky, I give thanks for us to be able to still bring these topics and bring these discussions and have these open discussions and the fact that we demonstrate that we could agree to disagree and come back the
Yes,
next
I.
week and we don't have ill feelings amongst each other and no need to want
It's
to
all
fight
love, ain't
or
nothing personal. No, man, it's
I
all
know, I
love.
know
And
it's
let
something here in UK. I'm just highlighting it so that people can
yes,
realize that we can demonstrate that we're demonstrating that we can disagree, even though we get along good, may you good. We don't have to agree with
Yes,
everything that each other, but at the same time, we're able to do it amicably. And at the end of the day, we come back
of
and have another
course.
conversation, and or maybe if we need to
Yeah,
come back and
man.
debate it, we come back and debate it
Of
some more. So
course.
it's just to be able to demonstrate to the
Yes.
public that this is what we need a lot more of. Instead of,
Yes,
you
I.
might be one in another party or whatever it is, but we could still have a debate and a discussion and still end up being good friends without having to
Yes, I.
get angry and violent and all that and all that. So
No, because
if
yes.
you could wrap up with your last little point, Banky, if you have anything else to add in, but give thanks everybody
Well, just
for
want to.
another
Yeah.
Everything Agriculture, and we look forward to seeing you again next week, Tuesday, when we have another edition of the topics, and next week, Friday, again, when we do have another edition of Everything Agriculture.
Well, just want to big up the real entertainment crew, those in the background as usual, and those who on island are coming for the festive season to enjoy themselves. I realize a lot of rental cars on the road, so be careful when you're driving. And if you're gonna be drinking, have a designated driver and be safe and stuff like that, and enjoy the time that you see. And definitely while on island, you visit Shabba's Organic at Mansell's last stop. Tomorrow is where you get your local car meal and fish and your soul food dish from tomorrow 11 o'clock. You put in your order. I just drive by, stop by, chill, and know the food phase there. But at the same time, you can extend, come over to the farm and see the place and get some mangoes or stuff like that. But yeah, son, definitely next week we continue the reasoning on this fair share thing and stuff like that. 'Cause I think it's something that is really the people are speaking about, but we have to really look at it in a different perspective where both parties breaking the constitution and they have to be accountable for that. But Alan, I'm out, and give thanks for those who tuning in. And until next week, we will continue on the topics and another show of the Everything Agriculture Show.
Yes, and in the meantime, for folks who are here, come and enjoy some free mangoes at Tafara's plant nursery, and we got some guineas, and whatever fruit science season, you just might be able to get a chance to sample. So come and take the tour and cool out and kick back and get somebody fountain beers and just relax and full joy a little time with us if you're on the island. So Tafara's plant nursery and support the 10,000 food tree drive. We are seeking to replant a lot of the, indigenous foods, whether it's sugar apple, tamarind, soursop, coconuts, English plums, Emancipate, all of these. We want everybody to be able to have a fruit tree, some fruit trees in their yard, and we got to be able to save, our indigenous food, save the seeds. Let's focus on a seed bank. We need to do that so that we can keep some of the seeds because they're genetically modifying a lot of the seeds, and so as much of what we can save that we know are normal, so to speak, or heirloom, we need to make a concerted effort to do that. I'm doing my part, and that's one of the reasons why I'm working on this project in terms of replanting the trees. So a lot of these Amripali mangoes that we're eating this season and some that are dropping on the ground and all that, and we're feeding pigs with and so on, I am actually going to save a lot of the seeds and seek to plant, whether it's 100, 1,000, how many I can plant, so that for the future generation, because I'm not just thinking me, I'm thinking my children, I'm thinking my grandchildren and down the road, because the trees that I'm feeding from right now and I'm eating from is my grandparents and my father and so on would have planted them. So I'm just continuing the legacy. So we're waiting for our master control to take us out of here. So okay, so give him 10 minutes. Okay, all right. Then. So yeah, so we got a couple of minutes to I
Okay,
guess
cool.
elaborate a little
Back to
bit
fair
on a couple.
share.
So you want to
Back to
go
your
back to the
fair
fear
share.
sheet?
Yeah, let me go
Okay.
to your fair share because
So
we're holding both of
so
them
yeah.
accountable. Because you see, the premier sitting, the problem is the prime minister because he went to the World Bank or whoever he went to. So let he say what he can't speak because he was
Yeah,
giving it
Banky,
as
okay, hold on,
private, so
hold
he
on. I
can't
think
speak
the
on it.
problem. I think where the problem started from, right, is the play and the word or the term fear share. It was
No, the
it,
man
it
after
was
the man said specific. The man sing a song after it, CBI money. The man being specific in this,
no,
so ain't no
that
play.
that happened after the fact. The play was pushing the fear share when because when anybody hear fear share, it start to play on the emotions of how things were back, back in 80s and so on, where when we used to get the old school bus from St. Kitts and,
Well, that's how you
anything
see
that
it.
education and so on. Yeah, but because
But
it
it is
was
right
only,
still. But it is nothing wrong with that. But yes, nothing wrong with that. That is fine. Nothing is
but
wrong with these things.
nothing is wrong with
Treat
these
us fair.
things. But
Treat us
exactly,
fair.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yes.
When the argument was pushed, as you pointed out, when it came down to the broad tax, what we realized it was only about the CBI. And the reason why I said that it would have been only about the CBI when I realized is because I know and I knew that in terms of the taxable revenue and in terms of the VAT, the NIA would have stopped it. So I know that the argument could have never been in relation to those things. It was only for the CBI. And so if the premier wasn't this ingenuous in his
Okay.
push
Let me
yes
say this.
argument, yes.
Let me say this, yes, son. Since they stopped
Mhm.
the sharing of the constitution that where it's 26% to navies and to sink it, does navies collect more money since they have done that? Can they show the evidence that navies have collected more revenue from that?
So
When can they show the proof in that how much they have lost over the years? Can
so
someone ask this
that
question to the
is
premier press conference?
not yet. I don't think
Rather, if they've
anybody
been,
have. Here's
well,
the
I need
thing.
that question to be asked from since I started
But
that.
that
How
is one
much?
of the
What's the
reasons.
difference between? Yes.
But that was one of the reasons why I was asking. Why I was saying earlier that when you said that the federal government also is responsible because Navy
Yeah.
stopped it. But also, but this is the point I was trying to get
Navies
to.
can't stop it without them allowing. They have to
But
agree with
hold on,
it.
so
The boat breaking it,
but
can
this is
they
the point
supposed to
I was
stop?
getting to in terms of the share because I was saying if when it was shared, when it was supposed to be pooled and shared, right? If
Yes.
at the if at the end of it, Navy should have benefited a lot
Mm-hmm.
more. But when you stop and think it's realized, well, okay, bye, well, if they do it that way, I going to get most of the money still. Well, why am I going to say anything then in that
No,
sense?
no, no,
And
no,
that's
no. Say walk. No say walk. You have to work with the constitution. You can't work with your personal feeling. The boat breaking the law. May stick with that, Virgin.
well, no, me
Just so
agree.
the
No, I
infringe on my
agree that
right with cannabis.
the
Just
law
like the
has
infringe
been
on my right with
broken.
cannabis.
The
And
law
they
has
come
been
back and, and,
broken.
and expand
Yes.
people and expand people cases and stuff like that because of the wrong they've been doing that knowledge they've been doing wrong. And the same thing with this thing when they're breaking the constitution again by not
So
following the document.
who's gonna take them to
The
court?
attorney general, the people. So the attorney general and all and the minister, the people. What you mean? Because that's the reality, brethren. That's the reality. They're both playing with the people. Then because they're supposed to follow the constitution. How would you allow navies when you yourself know you're supposed to do this?
Watch
About to
here.
them,
Watch
you
here.
can't single out
But this is
none.
okay now, Banky. Here's the thing. That has happened when the taxable sharing arrangement stopped. It stopped under Van Sammy, The VAT was changed under the VAT was stopped under Mark Brantley. However, that is how long ago. So this is how long ago the constitution has been broken since way back when Van Sammy was a premier. And nobody has done anything, nobody has said anything. It's only now this fair share argument came up. And I started to point out that because I realized that in terms of the argument for fair share, that the premier was only specific to CBI shares. And I said, and I kept saying then, that this aspect of it needed to be highlighted. The fact that when you're talking about fair share, you were only talking about the fair share of the CBI revenues and not about anything else. But that is one of the problems that I found because I was saying, if you're going to speak about fair share and address the fair share, you can't just address the CBI. You have to look at it holistically. And so I guess from the Prime Minister's perspective, I guess that is what is happening, that it has to be looked at from a broader perspective and not just address the CBI. So I think that is where we are. Your mic pause. Your mic can
But
pause.
how you know what he doing? How you know what he doing? When the premier said in a consult yet, certain things ain't inside the report. So we don't understand
But
how these grown
all of
folks are do
this,
these things. Eh?
all of this come down to a level of accountability, right? Because the Prime Minister would have gotten that report since sometime, maybe January or even before. The Premier said he got it sometime in March. And since March until now, we're in April. And he's waiting until sometime late in July to tell us now that nobody consulted he. And that the figures, he ain't know where they get the numbers from. After, what, 3 4 months, have it in your hand? You're arguing now that it was given to you in what? In confidence. And so now, if it is to release, only the Prime Minister could release it because he can't reach confidence. Remember, I was telling you the other day when we spoke about it, I told you that there's a level of diplomacy that has to be considered in relation to the Prime Minister and the Premier, even though the Premier functions as the
No,
minister,
that's
the
why I
opposition
tell you,
minister.
let the Prime Minister could do it.
So if the Prime Minister would
Because,
have to do it, yes, technically.
what
Yeah,
I
but
will
I was
tell you,
just
but
showing
you're saying
you.
that the Premier yes, I understand,
No, what I
yes.
was telling you, is that he had to give it to the Premier for the Premier to look at. He couldn't. Let me not say he
Of
couldn't.
course,
He
that's
could.
fine.
He could,
That's
but he
fine.
was
Of
just saying.
course.
He was just saying, like, give the Premier the time to look at it and do whatever he needs to do before now he make a public announcement. It's just like I'm saying, being diplomatic.
He
He
could
has to
talk
give.
now.
But
He could
no,
talk
I
now,
guess he
because the
could
Premier
talk
blame
no.
he. The Premier blame he now. The Premier
Right.
could blame
But
he.
it is up
I
to
hear
he
the
now.
problem, not the Premier. I
Right.
like
It's up
that.
to
I
he
like how the
now
Premier blame he.
to document public so that we know can have a better idea because the reality is the people needed to be able to have the information because we would just be arguing
Yes,
based on
son.
what we
That's your man.
yes.
At our age, and listen to this dumb argument with some of our we call our greatest minds, where we're supposed to be brothers and sisters and don't want to share the resources equally. And then them on the other side gonna say, "Oh, the family is from Nevis and this is from Nevis." Virgin, why can a people who do not want to share resources when everybody is equal? I find this amazing, my brethren. You understand? I ain't gonna be a part of no political party and nobody in sync to entertain this nonsense, you know. We don't want to give Nevis what is equity owed to Nevis and fix what need to be fixed. So and then as the years goes by, this thing could be revised and change according to population changes and stuff like that. And I mean, what's so hard in this thing, my virgin? I think it just don't honor Nevis people where the Nevis don't need to get nothing because somebody is not constitutionally so you want to just hold on and a resource yourself, you have and think it's a Nevis and you want to keep all and we have to beg you for something. No, we gotta come better than this, my virgin. This have nothing with NRP CCM, whatever it is. We just gotta call it for what it is. It's our resources. How the hell are taking our resources and giving away to all kind of different entities over at Kittishon Hill, Christoph Harbour, and God knows whoever else. But when it comes to giving us the native and the other side, there is an issue. Me not entertain them things there. You understand? We supposed to see this
I
thing
hear
for what
you.
it is. And what it is, why sink it no one again Nevis what belongs to them? Wow. Well, take off Nevis off the passport then. That is the whole point. Take Nevis off the passport and sell sink it passport. And Nevis got its own passport. Since nobody wanna share. You see what I mean? That is the whole point. Because I'm not at a point in my life where me not entertain crap in a virgin. If something is crap, it's crap. Me not play along this Nancy story and cow jump over moon theory. This fix, put some, legislate something. Okay, this is what it is. The population is this. Okay, the constitution, we can work off the constitution saying, well, whatever it is, we're going to share. Say you get 70%, I think you get 50%, Nevis get 50%. So what? Say you get 60, Nevis get 40. So what? Are we passport to be no body hold no more than other? Figure it out. Figure it out. Otherwise, put some percentage in place and let people vote on it then. Put 20/80, put 70/30, put wherever you want to put and let the people vote on it. Because them alone is supposed to come up with this decision, my virgin. You understand? Let people be a part of this decision making. That's the way it's supposed to be. This way of having this. Can you see you can't trust these people, you know, Yahsonn? You see what you cannot trust them. And that's just the
Well,
way it is.
I am
Because the
always for
bamboozling
consultation.
us.
I am always for consultation, and I am always
Yes,
for
let us be a part of the decision making.
so so I think that document from the World Bank should be in the public domain so that we can have a view and we could have weigh in on the discussion before they
And with
come to whatever conclusion.
The Charleston card too need to be in the public domain. Since they're gonna use that to
I
bamboozle
think
the
I
public.
think I think the
It is?
Charleston should be in the public domain. I think it's something that you can go and research and look up.
Find it?
Uh, yeah,
Because
I'm
I
gonna
don't
look
see
it up.
why go along this way when you could not put some legislation in place and have consultation with the general public and say this is what we're trying to work against and have town hall meetings and work towards putting legislate something for the so it shows the political leaders they've been thinking they don't have no interest in giving Nevis what is theirs. They're just playing games. And me not play game because think it ain't no different than Nevis. We are one and we need to act as if we are one and stop ill treating Nevis because that's what me see. Look at this crap here again. Nevis gonna give Sinkers the geothermal, but yet they don't know how they're gonna share the resources. You can't make up the things a virgin. How you gonna give somebody your land, but you don't know how much you're gonna get paid for it? Or we don't work out the price yet. So hold up on the land. No discussion. Then so what gonna happen? And it's a national project now. Saying also, oh, may spend all the money, so we can't give 50-50, whatever money be, because it's still not giving us a right share. So these are things that don't make no sense. These guys are doing exactly what they want, Yahsonn. They're not coming forth with the people. You don't know how much money gonna be spent to get this geothermal up and running with all these underground cable, all these machineries to withdraw the power out of the ground and all this different stuff. You don't know. I mean, well, how much you want to spend? 2 billion? Then when you make the money, 10 years later, 1 year later, who gonna run the cable underground? Who gonna assign these power purchase order? Who gonna want to buy power from you? What are the guarantees? Well, these are the wise guys, them, you know, and these are the simple questions we try to figure out. But yet, you don't know what the total spending gonna be up to now. So how can I go along with things like these, Virgin? Well, we can't go along with situations like these because if you are going to the bank to buy a car or to get a 5,000 loan, the kind of things the bank want to carry you through. You understand? Even your fingerprint like they want nowadays. So how they will come bamboozle me when you spend so much of hundreds of millions of dollars just to drill somewhere and to say you do exploration and all this nonsense? All right, we don't see music in the background. You mean me
Right.
boy park already? Enough respect.
Yeah, man. So
Continue this
guidance
discussion
and
next week.
everybody. See you guys next week Tuesday and next week Friday for another edition of Everything Agriculture.